Hi, everyone. Welcome to the GTHL Breakout Podcast. We're super excited to be joined by two gold medalists, Piper Grober and McKenna Van Gelder. We couldn't appreciate you guys joining us anymore. How's it going this morning?
It's going great. How are you?
We're good. I know we were just talking briefly before we jumped on here. McKenna, you had prom last night. How was that?
I did. It was really fun. It was quite the experience. It was at a really nice place, Palais Royale. It's on Lakeshore. I don't know if you guys heard of that, but yeah, it was super pretty.
Well, with the hockey schedule, it's great that you both get to enjoy the finishing up of high school experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll jump into minor hockey to start. So for those who don't know, Piper and McKenna are both GTHL alumni in the early days. So McKenna, you played for Westmall, and Piper, you played for York Mills in North Toronto. So we'll start with you, Piper. What do you remember from your days starting out in hockey within York Mills in North Toronto?
Yeah, I grew up playing boys hockey. Obviously, I started my career at NT, and then I moved to York Mills, and nothing but good memories from both those teams. I had a blast, honestly, just some memories that stick out, just going to practice, a few times a week, getting to spend time with my teammates and my coaches, just a lot of fun overall. I had a great time with both those teams.
And what about you, McKenna? What do you remember about your time with Westmall?
That was quite a while ago, but I remember I was on the ice so much with them because I would do my practice, and then my little brother, he also played for Westmall. His coaches would be like, "Oh, you want to stay on?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to stay on." And then the coaches afterwards like, "Oh, stay on for ours." So I was on the ice for hours in the day, and it was just so much fun. But I really think that helped with my development a lot, even though I was so young. But it was just such a great experience. And then when I got older, playing with my cousin and some other friends, it's just nice. We still stay in touch sometimes. They still know where I'm playing right now, Team Canada. They reach out, say congratulations, and then you see them on the ice too, and it's it's nice to follow their progress. But it's just overall such a great experience.
Well, you gotta get the ice time where you can, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm curious for both of you, what was the introduction like for hockey? So was there someone specific who got you in the game? I know, McKenna, you just mentioned an older brother, so McKenna, we'll just throw it back to you first of who got you into the game.
He was actually a younger brother, but funny story about how I got into the game is I was never supposed to play hockey at all, because my mom grew up with three brothers. They were all in the rink. My grandfather, so her mom was always coaching, or her dad was always coaching, and she was like, that's it, she's not playing hockey, I'm tired of it. So I go to school one day, and my friend was like, oh, hey, do you want to play hockey? And I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds fun. So I go to my mom, and I'm like, Mom, can I play hockey? And she's like, yeah, I guess she didn't think I'd be good at it. It didn't want it wouldn't consume that much of her time, but I kind of made it far. But that's kind of my origin story.
And now 18 years later, she's watching you on Team Canada.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a pretty unique story. What about you, Piper? Who got you into the game?
Yeah, mine was actually my older brother. So he grew up playing for NT before me. North Toronto Arena is right near my house, and then we also have an outdoor rink called Otter Creek. So I kind of grew up skating there. But yeah, it was really my brother who got me into it. I spent so many hours as a kid, a young baby, just in the rink. So I think that's where I really learned about hockey and fell in love with the game.
Anything that your brother can do, you can do better, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So what do you think, I know we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but what do you think the most important thing about minor hockey is overall, especially growing up in those young ages on the ice? I know we're joking about ice time and having fun, but is there one thing that you really hope kids playing the game now just get out of playing the game in those early years? McKenna, we can start with you.
Well, I think mentorship is what really keeps the kids in the game. So if they get exposed to really good coaches and really good teammates, and even the families that you're involved with, I think that'll really influence their decision and whether or not they want to stay in the game, because sport is either you're really into it or you're really not. And I find the people around it can really influence a child, especially at such a young age, whether or not they still want to play when they're older.
Absolutely. And what do you think, Piper?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also just think, like, it sounds cliche, but like, have fun, right? If you're not having fun, if you're not enjoying it, then like, what's the point? So I just say, like, enjoy it too. You know, you want to win and all that stuff, but also enjoy and have fun with the process itself, because that's where, you know, you get better. That's where you make those memories. So I think that's just as, if not more important than the end result.
100%. If you're having fun, I think you're going to have that extra drive to wake up for that 6 a.m. practice that we all have when we're 7 or 8 years old, right?
Exactly.
So eventually you both made the switch to the OWHA, excuse me. So was there a decision process that went in to you and your families making that choice, or was it just kind of felt like the natural next step? And we can start with you, Piper.
Yeah, for me it was so I switched to girls going into my first year of bantam, and I think the main reason for that was honestly just because of hitting. So I left right as the boys would start body checking. So I think that was just like a natural decision for me and my family, and so yeah, that was basically the only reason.
And what about you, McKenna?
I think with us, there wasn't really like a huge factor that played a role. I think it was we just wanted to like test the waters. So I went to go watch like the Etobicoke girls team like try out, and like I watched them skate, and like I talked to the coach, and like I just found like it was a really like good environment, and I thought I would fit in better there with the girls, and it was a really good decision overall.
Well, it's good. It's a step in your journey, right? Moving you
Mhm.
forward. And then talk about the journey. Just recently, I know we mentioned that you're both gold medalists, but for those listening, McKenna and Piper both represented Team Canada at the Under 18 Women's World Championship in Wisconsin. It was at the beginning of June. So let's talk about the steps to get to wearing the maple leaf. So maybe not a lot of people know of the steps that it takes, especially for girls in the game and women in the game, making those steps and taking those stages to get to Team Canada and the national team. So Piper, we can start with you. What was your journey like to get to the national team?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a crazy process. Like, I always think about, if you asked me like a year ago if I'd be where I am now, I wouldn't like think I would be, and I wouldn't believe you if you said I was. But yeah, for me, and I guess McKenna too, it started with Team Ontario. So we had a tryout for that last year, and then from there they put together two Ontario teams, so Team Ontario Red and Team Ontario Blue. I was on Blue, and then we were supposed to, you know, do a tournament with all the other provinces, but because of COVID, we ended up just doing a smaller tournament with both the Ontario teams and the Quebec team. So that was pretty cool. And then after that, I just kind of heard out of the blue, I got an email that invited me to a Team Canada selection camp. So that was like very exciting news, definitely unexpected, but very cool. And then from there, it's hard to remember everything that happened, but it got canceled. The selection camp got canceled, but the Worlds tournament was still on. So they were just gonna pick a team. Um, and then I ended up making that team. I got a call saying I made the team without having to go to selection camp. So that was amazing. And then from there, Worlds got canceled. So then that was also disappointing news. So it's a real roller coaster here. But and then Worlds got postponed to a later date in June. And then so then they decided to do a selection camp because now they had the time to do it. So we ended up having to do the selection camp, which was such a cool experience. And then from there, we both found out we made it, and then we went straight to Worlds from there. So pretty wild experience, but very grateful for it.
Anything different in your journey there, McKenna?
No, I think Pipe said it all there. There was just like a lot of cancellations with COVID and stuff. Like there was the August tryout, and then there's supposed to be the one in St. Catharines, but that got canceled because of COVID. And then the World's getting canceled, and then getting like postponed, and then a new selection camp. Like it was a really long process, but it was really, really worth it.
Yeah.
Well, how did it feel after all of those obstacles and then finally just getting to actually compete in that tournament? I know there was a lot of support behind the tournament because of all the cancellations. happening previously. So what was it like, you arrive in Wisconsin and it's, it's finally happening. What was that feeling like for you, McKenna?
It was unreal. It was like I was able to relax. Like, you're training so hard, you never know when the tournament is actually gonna like happen. You never know when you're gonna get a call saying, can you come try out for the team? So it was just like, it was like I said, it was like a really long process. Like, it kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. So once everything finally got settled down, and once you got the call or you got told face to face that you're playing in Wisconsin, it was like a breath of like fresh air. It's just like, okay, like I can like relax. I can take a step back and just like look at everything now.
You can let your guard down a little bit.
Yes.
No more
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, and what was just the whole experience like? Obviously, we'll touch on the feeling of the gold medal shortly, but just the whole experience of like we mentioned, arriving, but then competing, and honestly, just putting on the Maple Leaf. So, Piper, if you want to start.
Yeah, it was such a great experience. Obviously, it was an honor to play for Team Canada and put on. I remember vividly putting on the jersey for the first time. I think McKenna does too. But we all kind of gathered around in a circle and we all watched each other put the jersey on for the first time. So that was a really special moment. But even just playing in Wisconsin, like obviously the facilities there are pretty amazing. And Canada got off to a bit of a slow start in the actual tournament, but we were able to, like learn from everything and get better each game, which was kind of the goal all along. So it was a very cool experience that I'll definitely never forget.
And McKenna, how did putting that jersey over your head feel?
It was unreal. Like it's such a huge honor representing your country, and just like going into battle with so many girls you like did the same process as you is just like, you can't even put it into words like how great it felt. Like, you dream of this moment since you're a little girl, like looking at the Olympians. Like, I remember like in 2014, like in my elementary school, like watching like the gold medal game, and I was like, oh my god, like I want to play for Team Canada. And then like putting on the jersey and just like remembering that moment, it was like emotional almost, but it was just like, wow, like I made it. It was amazing.
Well, especially you both, it's a very unique situation because you both mentioned all the obstacles and trials to actually get to that point, and the very real risk of, the tournament continuing to get canceled. So just the opportunity in that aspect of finally getting to wear it, I'm sure added a whole other set of sentiment to it as you both were pulling on the jersey. But there was another thing you both got to wear that tournament at the end. You both, with your team, won gold medals. So I don't know, McKenna, I don't know if you're going to be able to put that into words, but how was that?
It was amazing. I actually have it here because I thought like you might ask about it.
That's great.
But like I still carry this thing like around everywhere. Like, it is like in my back pocket, and people come up to me and like, oh, like, do you have a medal? It's like, I have the medal. Like like winning that, like, oh my gosh, like if you guys heard me sing on there, you know how I was like feeling. Like it was a huge honor. It was like definitely something I will absolutely never forget. It was amazing.
Well, that's amazing. And Piper, how was the feeling for you?
Yeah, I totally agree with McKenna. Like, honestly, you can't even describe it. Just when the clock was winding down, I think there were like 7 seconds left, and McKenna was actually the one to like hold the puck against the boards, and I was like jumping up and down on the bench. And then when we all heard the buzzer and just ran out on the ice, and then when we got the gold medals put around our neck, like it was just such a feeling. You can't even describe it. But I've never felt that way in my life. And then after, just like celebrating with the girls and singing "Oh Canada" with our arms around each other, just such a cool feeling, and yeah, something I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Well, hopefully the beginning of many more for both of you, because your hockey careers are just really getting started. You're both committed to Cornell University. So one, are you excited to take on the next chapter together? Piper, we can start with you.
Yeah, I actually still have one more year playing for my club team. So, and then after I go to Cornell. But yeah, I'm very excited. I actually committed when I was pretty young, so I knew kind of right away that Cornell was the school for me. And when I went to visit all those years ago, I just fell in love with the school, the coaches, the hockey program, the campus. I just loved it all. So I'm very excited for that next chapter in my life, and to be going with, all the commits like McKenna is something I'm really looking forward to.
And what about you, McKenna? How was making that decision and choosing Cornell?
Yeah, so I was pretty young as well. When I made my decision, I was in middle school, I think grade 8. And like I it don't like it's such like an amazing school. Like I can't even like put into words what I love about it, because like I just love everything about it. Like the campus, it's beautiful. The coaching staff is amazing. The hockey program is amazing. The academics are out of this world. Like there's so many like just small things that were just, I guess, the factors that really pushed me to that school, because other schools didn't have it. But we also have actually a lot of players off of Team Canada going to Cornell. So now getting to know all of them and going in the same year with them, it's like going to be like one heck of a year. I could tell you that. Like we're already so close. It's going to be so much fun. And then Pipe's coming in the next year. Pipes are going to be roommates. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah, you heard it here first. We have the situation. But it does help when you have your teammates that you've already played with at any point, and then you all take on, like we said, the next chapter. It does make a difference because you already have kind of like your whole team and family waiting for you there when you get there. So definitely makes a difference. But just in the sense of making those decisions, and both of you already having so much experience already, but so much more ahead. Is there any advice you have for young girls currently making their way through the game? And McKenna, we can start with you.
Yeah, like Pipe said at the beginning, have fun, and really don't like rush into things. Don't worry about where hockey's gonna take you. I think everything will just fall in place. Like I know it's cheesy, but the universe has its ways with everyone. So honestly, the most important thing is have fun. Don't worry about things in the future. That will all come. And yeah, have fun.
That's good advice. What about you, Piper?
Yeah, for me, it's just kind of what I said earlier too, with like enjoying the process. Like I know with me growing up and a lot of other players, you tend to just, focus on the result or like your end goal, which obviously is important to be focused on that. But I also think you have to enjoy, like the little things, like you said before, waking up every day, being excited to go to practice, excited for games. I think that's just as important just to enjoy the actual process, because once you're at the end result, like you kind of miss it, you know what I mean? So just enjoying everything that comes with, like for me, everything that came with winning a gold medal. You just gotta enjoy every moment.
Well, it makes every single accomplishment, like a gold medal, that much more worth it, right? Everything that it took to get there. And on the flip side, there are so many young girls that maybe might be considering playing hockey but haven't. And just in the conversation of growing the game, what do both of you want young girls who are thinking about hockey but haven't quite decided to try the game? And Piper, we can start with you on this one.
Yeah, I would say just go with it. Just try it out. Like there's nothing wrong with trying something new. If you don't like it, then that's that. But hockey has been like the most wonderful thing in my life. It's allowed me to make so many memories, so many friendships, meet so many people, and also like win a gold medal, which is pretty cool. So I think just try it. Like what's the worst that can happen? For me, like I fell in love with it instantly, and I think a lot of other young girls who are exposed to hockey do also fall in love with the game. So yeah.
Well, and McKenna is just going to walk around with her gold medal to convince everyone to play hockey. But what about you?
I would just like tell them about like all the lifelong friendships I made. Like I still talk to people from when I was 8 years old, and it's just like such a good team sport that you can really learn a lot of things from all of your teammates. And no matter what level you play, you're always going to make the best friends of your life, and you can't get anything better than that.
Both excellent answers. And before we wrap up, we do have one last question just in the conversation, like we've mentioned, about growing the women's game. Is there one thing or a couple things that come to mind in the sense that you want or wish more people knew about the women's game? And we can start with you on this one, McKenna.
I mean, I guess just the general thing is like we're also really good hockey players. We're not girls playing hockey. We're just hockey players, and I guess I just want people to see us as that more often than being like, oh, I'm going out to a girls hockey game. Like, no, we're going out to a hockey game. But other than that, like I feel like our skill level, like you come watch us, our skating ability, like obviously size is going to be a big factor. That's different, but yeah, but I feel like everything else is really comparable to the men's, and I feel like it's definitely still a really, really, really good game to come watch.
And what about you, Piper?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I just think like visibility is such an important thing, especially on the women's side. So I think a lot of people just have never seen a women's game before. And I think all it takes is like you to go to a game for the first time to really like hooked on it and like actually are good at hockey and they know what they're doing. So I think it just takes one game to kind of see that, and then hopefully like to keep coming back and supporting.
No, both really good answers. For us, we know that we're both following your careers and we'll be cheering you on every step of the way. We appreciate your time and joining us today. It was a great conversation. I certainly enjoyed it. But as this off season comes, I'm sure you're both super busy. McKenna getting ready for the next step, and Piper ready to dominate the last season with your junior team. So we wish you both good luck, and we'll be following along. And thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
This was a great episode of the GTHL Breakout Podcast. We'll be back with many more stories like Piper's and McKenna.